Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. A religious leader says the ongoing communal violence in Terkeka County has so far left at least 50 people dead. The army has issued another stern warning to soldiers who are reported to be abusing civilians in most parts of the country. And a 20-year-old girl who was reportedly raped last week in Loka-Round Boma of Central Equatoria State has called for justice. These are stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Helen Samuel. Now the news in detail. A religious leader says the ongoing communal violence in Terkeka County has so far left at least 50 people dead. The sectional conflicts among pastoralists of Central Equatoria State have also led to the killing of a Pentecostal church bishop, Gereng Ashek Ayuel. He was reportedly killed in the Adep area by suspected armed assailants. A dozen people have also died in Lanya County as a result of cattle-related violence among Terkeka pastoralists. Bishop Paul Modi of Episcopal Church in Terkeka County says about 50 dead people have been identified over the last 4 days. He reported that the tensions are still high in the county.
الوضع العام في مناطق الأخرى في تركاكا ويمكن في مناطق الأجوار زي ما ذكرت إنه في سيرمون ومحلات تانيندل أجواد الماء ما عادي لأنه يتلو ساعات يمكن قبل 3 يوم كان في نجاحات اللي حصل في مناطق دل وأدى إلى فقد بتاعت أرواح وممتلكات فعشان كده في تنشن في مناطق دل وناس مواطنين العادي حاسة عايشين بخوف شديد في خلال 4 يوم لحد يوم بتاع ليلة يمكن ناس الكتالوج بيوصل بتقريبا قريب ل50 بتقدير قريب ل50 لأنه ما زال لسه في تفتيش في خلا في ناس طبعا المجروحين.
Meanwhile, communities across Terkeka County will soon be asked to attend a peace and reconciliation conference as the government seeks to contain intercommunal violence that has raged on for weeks. There have been fighting among communities from Terkeka in several parts of Central Equatoria State. Over the weekend, 13 people of Terkeka origin died following a cattle-related conflict in Lanya County. The state governor, Emmanuel Anthony Adil, formed a committee to reconcile the Mundari communities. The committee is tasked with visiting various sections of Terkeka and to come up with tangible solutions to the conflicts. The Archbishop of the Central Equatoria State Internal Province, Dr. Paul Pitia Yogosuk, is the chairperson of the committee. He says the committee will soon visit areas that have experienced violence.
We have met here at the Secretariat with the community of Mundari, and we have discussed issues pertaining the conflict. And at the end, we have resolved that we move to the ground to reconcile our people in different places among different sections, and especially in Tindilo, in Tali, in Mijiki, and in Korjik, in all the places that will be going. So our committee will be moving together with the Terkeka sons and daughters so that we bring a lasting solution. And I take this juncture to...
Dr. Paul Yogosuk was speaking yesterday at the Central Equatoria State Secretariat after meeting communities from Terkeka. A 20-year-old girl who was reportedly raped last week in Loka-Round Boma of Central Equatoria State has called for justice. According to the survivor, On the 20th of December, men in uniform attacked her house in the middle of the night and gang raped her. She says that she can identify her attackers. The young lady says violence on her has had a serious traumatic and social impact on her life. She reportedly left her husband's place out of fear of being rejected as a result of the rape incident. The lady, whose name we have concealed, demands the arrest of the rapist. She spoke to iRadio yesterday.
Kan jibu jambu tana barf kan dana de osolo munambola jada makwes biselu mon bisigin betena de biga makwes mon bidoru fogo
do bayte bonna ko
kala ma biro ade kanana ro anak kan mon dugana kaman bi jaddu gana aba mola yala makwes mon selo kan bi asila yala be masama mon kaman bi ayno mala na bigen fogo kan pe akal kan mon bi jase danna.
In South Sudan, cases of gender-based violence are widespread. According to the UN mission, since the outbreak of civil war, hundreds of women have suffered extreme cases of sexual violence, including gang rape and sexual abuse of minors with impunity. Last month, the UN Population Fund said a total of 6,295 reported incidents of gender-based violence were recorded between January 1st and September 30th, 2020. iRadio has also been reporting disturbing stories of women and girls being raped in Juba and other parts of the country. The government recently launched a special court to try gender-based violence cases. The High Court judge reported that most of the cases heard by the court involves sexual, physical, psychological violence. This news is coming to you from iRadio. The army has issued another stern warning to soldiers who are reported to be abusing civilians in most parts of the country. This is after local leaders and civilians in Lanya County of Central Equatoria State told iRadio that a group of SSPDF officers have been terrorizing them in the area. The unit deployed in local-round villages has been accused of looting, displacing, and killing civilians in the area. Traditional leaders said the soldiers tied about 11 people together, including elders and children, beat them up, and later stole their goats and chickens. The soldiers were later arrested and transferred to Yei town by their commanding officer. But the SSPDF headquarters believes the alleged acts by the soldiers is tainting the image of the army. The SSPDF acting spokesperson, Brigadier General Santo Domich, told iRadio yesterday that measures will be taken against those who violate the SPLA rules and regulations.
The SSPDF has already taken zero tolerance against any atrocities that are being or shall be taken against any civilian in the Republic of South Sudan. And criminality does not represent institution. And the SSPDF does not cover criminals or cooperate with criminals. Anybody who would commit any problem against any civilian will take the responsibility.
This is not the first time soldiers have harassed and tortured civilians in South Sudan. In August 2016, the UN reported that some 120 rape cases were committed by both men in military uniform and those in plain clothes. The same year, the then Chief of Staff, General Paul Malong, issued a stern warning to all commanders and soldiers to ensure no officer is involved in the abuse of civilians. Some soldiers have so far been tried and sentenced by various military court-martials in Yei and Juba for violating the military discipline. And lastly, before the international news, there shall not be any club partying on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day in Juba except for those with permission. This is according to the National Police Service. The Interior Ministry has reiterated its ban on night clubbing, warning that violators will be apprehended. On Monday, The spokesperson of the police service announced an order banning all nightclubs and discos in the capital following what it described as a rise in crimes associated with club revelers. About 50 people were arrested after an unnamed man was killed by a 23-year-old man on Saturday at this Space Lounge in Bollock. The National Police spokesperson, Major General Daniel Justin, reasserted that all the entertainment places shall remain closed during the New Year's celebrations. He, however, advised those intending to hold club events to seek permission first.
For sure, on the first, the celebration of the end of the year will not allow clubs. If you have a function, then you get permission, such that we provide you with security, such that your function is guided, and then it will be secure, because our force will be deployed with you until your occasion is carried out peacefully.
This is not the first time for night parties and discos to be shut down in the country. Last year, the former governor of the defunct Jubek state, Agostino Jadala Wani, banned discos over security, but the ban was largely being disregarded. You are listening to iRadio News, and now Lugala Mulaye is here with stories from the international arena. Welcome, Lugala.
Hello and good afternoon, Helen Samuel. Now let's take a look at what is making headlines in the region and the international scene. Sudan and Ethiopia have chosen dialogue in an attempt to resolve a perennial border crisis caused by clashes over arable land by border communities. On the sidelines of the 38th Extraordinary Summit of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, leaders of the two countries agreed on bilateral efforts to resolve what they call the bump in their historic relations. The clashes are in Al-Fashaga on the border of Ethiopia and Sudan, in the Sudanese state of Gazarif, which borders both the Amara and Tigray regions of Ethiopia. Elsewhere, police in Kampala are investigating the death of Ugandan professional boxer Isaac Zebra Senyange, who was gunned down Tuesday night at his home in Waise, Kawempe Division, also known as Mando. Senyange was 39. Police later reached the scene at Bugalani Zone in Waise 3 and took his body to the city mortuary at Molago as investigations into his death got underway. Kampala Metropolitan Deputy Police spokesperson Luke Owosigiri confirmed the death of Senyange, a former captain of Uganda's national boxing team, and promised to give a detailed statement in the course of the day. The murdered boxer's wife told residents that the people who killed her husband knocked on his door and upon opening shot him several times. Finally, the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine has been approved for use in the UK, with the first dose due to be given on Monday amid rising coronavirus cases. The UK has ordered 100 million doses, enough to vaccinate 50 million people. This will cover the entire population when combined with the full order of the Pfizer-BioNTech jab, Health Secretary Matt Hancock said. It comes as million more people in England are expected to be placed under the toughest tie for restrictions. Prime Minister Boris Johnson called the development a trophy for British science, adding that we will now move to vaccinate as many people as quickly as possible. And that is all making headlines in the region and the international scene. Back to you, Helen Samuel.
Thank you, Lugala Molai, for the roundup of stories making headlines in both the region and around the globe. You're listening to iRadio News, and now Garang Abraham is here with stories from the sports desk. Hello, Garang.
Thank you, Helen Samuel, and welcome to iRadio Sport News. Barcelona felt the absence of the injured Lionel Messi as they were held to a draw at home by struggling Eibar in La Liga on Tuesday. Martin Braithwaite missed a penalty in the first half before Eibar stunned their hosts by taking a 57-minute lead through striker Kiki Garcia. Osman Dembele equalized 10 minutes later, staring a first half short. Messi, who is recovering from ankle problem, watched the game from his stands, having arrived back from Argentina earlier on Tuesday. The points leave Barcelona in the 6th positions in La Liga, while Eibar at position 14, 2 points clear of relegation zone. Manchester United striker Marcus Rashford says it would be stupid to think about winning the Premier League title at the moment despite his injury game against Wolverhampton Wanderers, moving the Red Devils to second point in the table. Tuesday game seemed destined to be a draw when Rashford took possession on the 8th of the area near the goal line. But after cutting inside the box, the England man let fly with a left-footed shot that deflected off Roman Sessis to leave Rui Patricio completely wrong-footed. United are 2 points behind leaders Liverpool, having played the same number of games, which is as close as they have played to the top of the table at this stage of the season since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. Finally, in the world of basketball, Milwaukee Bucks set an NBA record of 29 three-pointers in a game in a 114-97 win over Miami Heat. The Bucks dominated, leading by as many as 51 points at one stage and broke the Houston Rockets record of 27 three-pointers in a single game. Orlando Magic beat Oklahoma City Thunders 881-1107 and have now won the first 4 games of the season for the first time in their 32 years history. Only Orlando and Atlanta Hawks remain unbeaten in the new NBA season. Magic top the Eastern Conference from Atlanta, while Los Angeles Clippers sit top of the Western Conference after a 1-2-1-1 win over Minnesota's Timberwolves. Those were the stories making headline in the world of sports. Back to you, Helen Samuel.
Thanks, Garang Abraham Malak, for the run.